Well, it's 3 and 3 on Christmas Day, but it is about 5:10 in the afternoon Eastern time. And I've got some thoughts. I actually dreamt about this last night. I can't believe I didn't. Once did I use this in acrostic to memorize the book of Genesis conceptually. It uses the acrostic, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth and man. Has 50 letters, 50 chapters in Genesis. And was running through not the scarlet thread of redemption, but prophecy through the book of Genesis. If we only had Genesis, what would be the significance of that prophetically? And so in my mind, I'm tracing back, the seed of woman. I've always thought that that's a mysterious phrase. All the genealogies are of men, and it's always the seed of men, but the seed of woman in Genesis 3:15. Crazy thing. Seems to be a supernatural birth. And of course, we believe it was a virgin birth, that the seed of the woman would crush the serpent's head, the devil's head, even though he would experience a wound from it. And then we know that in chapter 4, it looks like Eve thinks she has a man-child who is the Lord. I mean, if you look at the text, it's abbreviated. It's not she had a baby boy. They're filling that in to make sense. It's a man who is the Lord. She's expecting the fulfillment of that seed of woman right away, but that's not. She's wrong, but that's what she's expecting. We see later on in the flood narrative, the whole thing with that the Messiah will come through the line of Shem, not Ham, and not the European Japheth. So I just made this little chart. It kind of reminded me of one put together by Frank Turek and Norman Geisler of just prophecies just from the book of Genesis alone to the Messiah. So, and you can see then after Shem is Abraham, of course, in Genesis chapter 12, and then it's through Isaac, the son, not through Ishmael, when Abraham tried to fulfill the prophecy in his own conniving. And then it was Jacob who was chosen, not Esau. And then it was through Judah, Jacob, not Esau, and then Judah. And the promise is right there in Genesis 49, verse 10. But yet the last chapters of Genesis focus on Joseph. And Joseph is not in the bloodline of Messiah, but he is a type of Christ, and he is involved in the story, just as the New Testament Joseph isn't in the bloodline of Jesus either, because Jesus is virgin born. But Joseph is involved in the story. He gets the angelic visitation, delivers the Messiah Jesus by angelic warning. It takes him to Egypt, and in so doing, he saves the Messiah, so the Messiah can save the world, even though Joseph's not in the bloodline. The same thing happens with Joseph in the book of Genesis. He's not Judah. He's not the promised messianic line, but he goes to Egypt, and he rescues the messianic line, the Jewish people, so that the Messiah can come later, who will be the one to save the whole world. So 3 and 3, it all makes a lot of sense. And that whole business of targeting the prophecies down to a pinpoint just from the book of Genesis alone, I think that's intriguing. I actually got that idea of the target from one used by Frank Turek and Norman Geisler in their book, I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist, where they use this one. They just say the Genesis 3 is the human race, the line of David, born in Bethlehem, both God and man, from Isaiah 9:6, visits the temple, has to die in AD 33, according to the weeks of years prophecies in Daniel chapter 9, and rises from the dead, mentioned in Isaiah 53, verse 11. Anyway, a lot of evidence that Jesus is exactly who he says he is, and we get free by knowing him. He who the Son sets free is free indeed, and I hope you're experiencing that freedom this Christmas Day, and I hope you have a great day reflecting on his goodness, his glory, his lordship, his truth, and the freedom that's found in Christ Jesus, the Messiah. Yehoshua HaMashiach. God bless you. Thanks for tuning in to 3 in 3. Thanks, Bill Ward, Tim Algren, Mariah, Kathy Dallas, and others for commenting on this live video. God bless you today. Merry Christmas.